Hello everybody, we are back on Tekken 8 and today I want to talk about a very relevant topic that even though it's present across all fighting games, I feel like it's even more important on Tekken 8, and that is, anxiety and stress around playing high level / high rank players. Tekken 8 is arguably the hardest fighting game out there at the moment. There's nothing as hard as this game. It is obviously the most technically difficult fighting game that you can play, and at the same time, it is probably the most volatile game and the most aggressive one. Like, it's very hard to deal with this game in general. It is random sometimes. There is an insane amount of knowledge checks. The roster of the game, it's insanely strong. It has a very high power level, arguably the highest power level also of all current modern fighting games, and it is very hard to deal with some characters when you play someone that is good at the game. And in that sense, you can feel stressed or anxious about it. For example, in this video, I have footage of me fighting Double Jin, this Double Jin that is actually a God of Destruction level player with Feng Wei, and I also fought a Lydia that is a Tekken god with Claudio. So even though you're watching, of purple and blue ranks, that is not really what's happening. And we are all playing secondaries. My highest rank character is Dragunov on Tekken King, and you have all these other players. And the reason why I'm showing this is because I want to sort of showcase how you can fight players that are better than you and win if you execute good fundamentals. And at the end of the day, this battle with anxiety, and stress when you fight someone that is super good, it's not something that should defeat you if you're able to, stay calm, have a good mental, and at the same time, try to execute a fundamentally based game plan, because that tends to be the way in which you can beat players that are really good at this game, even if they are a little gimmicky. So, if you enjoy fighting game content, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing, and leave a comment. Do you think that fundamentals are enough to beat high-level players or gimmicky players in Tekken 8, or not really? And let's keep our discussion. So, I actually feel like the first big barrier to deal with high-level players, it's more mental than anything else. It feels like you can have, good fundamentals, good execution, and those things are gonna carry you. They're gonna make you win fights. But at the same time, it also feels like the main reason why people lose against high-level players or players that are better than them is because they assume that they're gonna lose, And fighting games are kind of like one of the most fair, video games out there in terms of competing. Like, at the end of the day, everyone has the same state when you start a fight. Everyone has access to meter. Of course, some characters are stronger than others, but you're technically on the same conditions, except for maybe character strength. But aside from that, everything else, it's equal. You have the same meter, the same buttons. Everyone can do launchers, lows, everyone can do whatever they want. So in that sense, you're free to try to win. You're not, sort of in a cage accepting that you're going to lose because the other guy is better than you, because the system is telling you that, the numbers, the ranks. So the first barrier, I really believe, is that it's mental. It's more related to you saying to yourself, I already lost. So in that sense, I think that a good way to deal with that is understanding that rank doesn't matter. They're just numbers. There's a lot of good players that are not on high rank because they don't play enough, they don't care. Maybe they play a character that actually does very bad on the, very volatile context of rank, and that happens. Like, you can be very good at a fighting game and not have a really high rank because your character is not good for the insanely volatile context that online play can have. Maybe if you go to a local tournament, you have insane results. That happens in a lot of video games, even not only on fighting games. So in that sense, that first mental barrier, of I'm good enough to beat this guy, you have to take it with this other message, in the sense that you have to understand that you're equal to the other person. It doesn't matter which rank you have or how good the other guy is according to the numbers, prompts to them, but you can still beat them. And that is the first big barrier to sort of, be able to beat and actually fight the other guy on equal conditions. And then we move into the second barrier, which I actually believe it's related, to gameplay, to fundamentals, and the execution of good fundamentals. In a game like this, even though it is extremely volatile, super, offensively oriented, you can win consistently through fundamentals, and you can see that on all, high-level players. You can see that on pro play, on high rank players. You know, there is like two sides of the coin. Of course, you have players that are very strong in their fundamentals, that play good defense, they are very patient, they whiff punish you perfectly, they use their plus frames perfectly. And then you have the other side, which is that there is a lot of players that play on a very gimmicky way, you know, and they win because they are very gimmicky. You don't know how to deal with it consistently. They do very random things, so they end up like sort of stealing you, quote unquote, some rounds, and then they defeat you. So in that sense, of course, there is more than one way to get to a high rank, but generally it is a much more consistent game plan to play with good fundamentals than to play around gimmicks. You know, it's something that you can use in all fights against anyone, and that is why fundamentals are so relevant, because they are, you know, you can translate that to anyone, onto any fight, and at the same time, fundamentals can help you play the game, not necessarily a character. A lot of the times when a player is very gimmicky, they are very dependent and carried by a character. But when you play based on fundamentals, you can actually play a lot of different characters and do well and have good results, because fundamentals can be transferred to other characters if you understand their game plan. And the other reason why, you know, good fundamentals are very interesting and relevant is because they can actually help you to deal not only with good players, but also with very gimmicky ones. You know, good fundamentals can help you to build patience and actually punish people that play on a very gimmicky way. They can also help you to deal with players that do kind of like random options or have a more random game plan. And in that sense, you know, fundamentals are a universal tool that can help you deal with any type of player, and that's why they are so valuable, you know. And also related to that, there is a lot of people in this game that get to high rank thanks to gimmicks. So it is kind of very relevant to be able to deal with that type of player, and the best way to do it is with gut fundamentals. You know, you can also have your gimmicks, they can be relevant, of course, but I don't think that you should be, you know, dependent on the gimmicks. They should be a part of your game plan because they are part of the game, but you should be able to win consistently through fundamentals instead of the usage of those specific gimmicks. And if you do that, I think that you can consistently defeat better players than you and get better at the game, you know, and win against players that are actually, you know, arguably better than you, and still defeat them. And all of this, of course, is also related to patience. You know, you need to be patient with yourself. Like, fighting games are very hard. They can be very difficult, complex, and you need to be patient with yourself and how you can deal with this type of games and learn them slowly but surely. You know, eventually you're gonna get good and you're gonna enjoy the games even more because you got really good. So, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Again, do you think that fundamentals are good enough to beat high-level players? And see you on the next video, guys. Keep enjoying some Tekken.